Here's another blues rhythm guitar style in major blues that you want to know about. So let's start with the chord shape that we're going to be using for this. So this blues style is called blues with approach chords. So here's the shape we're going to be using. Let's get my volume up. G, F, B are the notes. So we're skipping the A string. I play G, which is on the 3rd fret of the low E string with my middle finger. I play F, which is on the 3rd fret of the D string with my 3rd finger, my ring finger. And I play B, which is on the 4th fret of the G string with my pinky. I mute the A string and I mute the B string with the inside of my pinky, and I make sure I don't go so deep with my pick to the point where I will hit the low E string. So I only hit 4 strings really. I squeeze on every chord hit. So the moment my pick touches the strings, I squeeze and I lift up my fingers again, so I get short punctuated chord sounds. So in the key of G, this will be the 1 chord because I'm on the G note there. So as you probably know, blues is always 1, 4, 5, which means the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th chord of the key you're in of the scale. So that means that if you're starting on G, your other 2 chords are going to be C and D, because it takes 4 fingers to count from G to C, G, A, B, C, and it takes 5 fingers to count from G to D, G, A, B, C, D. So D is your 5 chord, C is your 4 chord. These chords are located on the 8th fret, so exactly same chord shape with the A string muted and the top 2 strings not played. And then 2 frets higher on the 10th fret is where you have D. So if you play this just doing downstrokes only, following the blues form, the 12-bar blues form, in which the chords have very specific placement, it would be this. Sorry, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 8th fret, back to the 3rd fret, 2 bars. So that's C for 2 bars, then back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. Then the 5 chord on the 10th fret, then 2 frets down to the C chord, then the 1 chord again, and then bar number 12, the 5 chord, which loops back to the 1 chord on the next bar. So let's do a couple of things now to make this more interesting. So one way you could make this more interesting is having muted upstrokes. It accentuates and improves the swing feel. So you get this. And so on. So you don't want to have these muted upstrokes on every upstroke because it will sound tedious after a while. I mean, you could, but it kind of sounds too much, so you want to create more space. But at the same time, you also, besides having more space, you also want to accentuate the swing feel. So you do that by balancing things out a bit and only having upstrokes every once in a while, every here and there, every couple of bars or so, or like 1 hit or so every bar, rather than like hitting 4 times on the up. So you get. So on. You might find, if you haven't been playing a long time yet, that the upstroke, the coordination between the squeezing and the muted ups might be challenging. So you really got to focus hard on this hand, just doing that consistently. Down, a down, a down, a down, a down, a down. If you can't get the feel right, you probably might want to hit on every upstroke first. So. Or do it slowly till you get the feel right, and then you start leaving upstrokes out to create space. Now, all that being said, next thing that you can do to make this more interesting. So we added muted upstrokes. The next thing now is adding approach chords. Now, what does that mean? It means that you're approaching your target chord, meaning the chord you're moving to, from a half step below or a half step above. On beat number 4, hitting the wrong chord, a half step below, moving into the right chord on beat number 1 of the next bar. Now, if that doesn't make sense, here's how this works basically, because things like that typically make more sense when you see them in action, when you hear them being played. So it's 1, 2, 3, So I went to the C chord on the 8th fret by playing a chord on the 7th fret first and then moving that up a half step to the 8th fret. So let me do this again. So 1, 2, 3. On beat number 4 I play the, so to speak, wrong chord, the approach chord, let's call it that. Going into the right chord, into the 4 chord, and now same deal. This is beat number 4. I play F sharp 7, I play 2nd fret, moving into the target chord, the G chord on the 1st fret, so we're in the key of G, right? So it's like, so I'm doing everything from a fret below into it. Beat number 4, beat number 1. Beat number 4, beat number 1. I'm gonna have 2 bars of 1 chord. This next bar 2. 5 chords. I played 9, 10 are the frets. And now 7, 8. 2, 3. So I'm naming the fret numbers right. 9, 10. And now starts over again. Beat number 4 of bar number 12. Beat number 1 of bar number 1. Starts over again there. So again, in recap, the way this works, in case I went a little too quickly over this, you hit your approach chord on beat number 4 of the previous bar, and you hit your target chord, the chord you're supposed to move to, which is either the 1, the 4 or the 5 chord of the key you're in, which will be G, C or D, which again are on the 3rd, the 8th or the 10th fret. You approach these from 1 fret below, moving up a half step into the target chord. If you do this up to speed, it's like this. Then it starts over again. Now everything we covered so far was going from half step below, 1 fret below, moving up a half step into the chord. But you could also go the other way around, from a half step above, resolving downward 1 fret. So instead of 7, 8, I do 9, 8. Instead of 2, 3, I do 4, 3. 4th fret, 3rd fret. C chord, A flat G, E flat D, E flat G. Now the next level, of course, which is what you really want to do, is you combine, where sometimes you go from half step below, resolving up, sometimes you go from half step above, resolving down, where you kind of make it 50-50 and divide it nicely. So, which will be like this. I went from below, now from above. Now from below. That's from below, now above again, now below. So I mix it up. I went from below into the D, then from above into the C. By the nature that you constantly hit a chord that creates tension, because you're hitting, so to speak, a wrong chord, the approach chord, and then resolve that tension resolution creates kind of like a jazzed up kind of like feel that gets added to the blues. So have fun with this. This is going to keep you busy if you've never done this before, and definitely check sotsandguitarlessons.com for more stuff like this.